Yes, guys, Ryjack back for another video. We are here in celebratory fashion today. City and Newcastle play the semifinal of the Carabao Cup, and City dominate the game 3-1 in the second leg, finishes 5-1 on aggregate. Very comfortable win. Honestly, over both legs. Newcastle had some chances here and there, but in general, a 5-1 does speak volumes for a two-legged tie. City, much the dominant side, and we are very, very excited to be going back to Wembley, Etihad South, as they like to call it. Final is not for some time, unfortunately. March 22nd is the date, I believe. So 6 or 7 weeks away from now, which is a little bit annoying, but hey, we have reached the final of the first real trophy up for grabs this season. That is always very, very nice thing to do. So anyway, before we get into it, if you're new, hit subscribe, like the video, and then comment your thoughts, of course, and I'll respond to all the comments as I always do. Anyway, let me pull up the recap here on FOTMob as always. The scoring, we can talk about the scoring and the individual performances in a moment, but in general, the game was pretty much finished within the first 10 minutes. Marmoush scores a somewhat lucky goal in the 7th minute. He is through on goal. Dan Burns slides in, and it does deflect off of Marmoush, looping over the keeper into the goal. So, somewhat fortunate bounce for sure. However, Marmoush feels the energy of scoring a goal, celebrating in front of the City fans, and he goes out there, gets another goal on a poor clearance from Kieran Trippier, where he heads it home from a yard or two away. But again, very good position to be in. You got to be in those areas to score the goals. So he gets two inside 30 minutes. Of course, the tie is over there. It's 4-0 at that point with 60 minutes left on the clock. Surely City can't blow it from there. Reinders follows up, scores a goal just a couple of minutes later for the 32nd minute, and you head into halftime 5-0 up on aggregate. At that point, you know the tie is over, and I was hoping for some substitutions that could have really benefited in terms of some rest for certain players. I'm talking the likes of Ryan McAdoo and Severe Naipan, Rico Lewis, Max Aline. Those are the subs I would have liked to make. Unfortunately, Aline is the only one that comes on at halftime, and he has an okay-ish game. Nothing great, maybe a little bit sloppy. Nothing to say, wow, he deserves a start, anything like that. It was fine, I guess. He almost gave away a penalty, a little clunky in that area. Again, second half was a dead rubber. Really nothing was going on. There was a few chances for Newcastle. They ended up scoring as well. They had an offsides goal that went in, but clearly offside. And then Trafford, to his credit, did make quite a few saves that probably were expected saves, but he made them nonetheless. I would say, let's see, 4 saves is pretty good. But 0.24 goals prevented. Nothing really incredible from Newcastle. I could see some people maybe a bit upset with the second half, but I don't know what you really expect. It's 5-0 on the aggregate scoreline. I'm not expecting much from a second half in that scenario. I honestly would have been happier if we did not see Rodri, Haaland, or Cherki. I don't really know why they came on. It felt like a great opportunity to give them a full week off in between the Spurs game and the Anfield-Liverpool game, but Pep decides with 20 minutes left to bring all 3 of them on. Kind of weird, in my opinion. Newcastle were somewhat in control at that point in terms of momentum, but again, it was 4 goals separating the sides. I don't think this was a necessary triple sub, especially with Cherki having an injury that prevented him from starting this game. He comes in, does decently, sets up a Haaland should-be goal. Haaland probably had 2 that could have been goals, but he continues his poor form and poor finishing of late. Would have been nice to see him score. He does not. Rodri gets a silly yellow card when he's beat for pace. Other than that, I don't really have much to say. Rico Lewis got 10 or so minutes and didn't really have an impact on the game. Unused subs. My youth players I was looking forward to seeing, potentially Makadu and Naipan, do not come on, which, unfortunate, I wish they would have come on. Diaz as well does not make an appearance, which does make me doubt he's available for Liverpool on Sunday. I don't really see a reason to throw him right back in for that one, especially when Huzanov and Ake, Huzanov and Yehi, which it would be, are playing decently well. Huzanov maybe had a semi off game, but in general, again, he was pretty good. Individually, like I said, Trafford was potentially up there for best players on the day. I would probably end up giving Marmoush man of the match just because he did get those 2 goals, and goals really are what man of the match ends up getting anyway. Trafford, very good on the day. Though, O'Reilly, he did not play at left back. This is an incorrect graph. He was definitely in the midfield. Aït-Nouri was the left back, but the formation we are playing currently, it is not a 4-1-4-1. It's much more of a 4-2-2, where the fullbacks are bombing up and down the field. Aït-Nouri and Nunez, where O'Reilly and Nico G were the base of this midfield. And then right in front of them is Reinders and Foden, with Marmoush and Semenyo pushing forward as the dual strikers in a way. The heads of the press, I guess you could say. So it was a decent game for O'Reilly. Thought he was all right. Nico G, pretty good in general. Nothing to complain about. Again, Newcastle, to be fair, were pretty awful in general. That's kind of besides the point. Newcastle did not really look good, basically anyone, if you can tell by their ratings. Reinders, very impressive game from him. Probably could have had another goal as well. I was happily pleased with what I saw from Tijani for sure. And maybe he can use that momentum to start against Liverpool on Sunday. Foden, unfortunately, wasn't great. He was okay. Wasn't awful, like I've seen some people say. But I don't think anything screamed, wow, he must start this next game against Liverpool. And I would say Reinders definitely did more to his credit to earn a spot in the starting lineup for Liverpool. Aït-Nouri as well, another good game. He's had a good run of games, I would say. I've been really impressed with him as a left back, which has allowed O'Reilly to move to the midfield, and he's been decently good there as well. So I imagine you see more of Aït-Nouri at left back in this left back / left wing back role that he's doing. And I'm liking it quite a bit. I think Aït-Nouri has very high level of technical ability. He's got some pace as well. He can put in some crosses. He was good today as well. Semenyo didn't really have quite as much to do. He was a bit unselfish on an opportunity which he could have tried to take the shot on, but kind of cleared out of the way and let Reinders score his goal. So, it is nice to see some selflessness, some not taking all the credit for himself. He realized Reinders had the opportunity and he did not, and he stepped out of the way. Some players may just go for it anyway, not Semenyo today. Reinders, like I said, very, very good game. Marmoush definitely gets man of the match. I think, for me, the first goal is quite a bit lucky, but the second goal is due to his pressing, his effort, his desire to get to the ball first. So very happy with Marmoush. He potentially could have had a hat trick as well. There was a few opportunities where I thought a ball could have been squared to him and he could have tapped in. He had a left-footed shot late on in the game that he kind of snatched at and potentially could have done better. But in general, I thought Marmoush was very good, lively, and gave quite a bit of effort, which is something that needs some praise at this point. We have been questioning some players' effort from time to time. Unfortunately, that has been the case. Ball possession-wise, in terms of team stats, City were pretty dominant on the ball. Second half, I would guess Liverpool did a little bit more. It was roughly similar, I guess, but XG was more for City. More shots, 18-12. Shots on target, 8-5. 5 big chances for City. So, we could have potentially had a couple more goals. Nothing else really is out there crazy. We, almost double up on their passes, which typically City teams do. And all in all things considered, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that we are going to a final of the Carabao Cup, a trophy we can win. Yes, it's against Arsenal. We maybe are not the favorites technically going into it if you look at the odds or something like that, but we have a great chance to win a trophy in March, which ideally can set us up for a good run the rest of the way in the Premier League and the Champions League, should we still be in those competitions, relatively in the race for those titles. So, all things considered, I'm very happy. Happy we smoked Newcastle. A win really heals all. I know people are upset about the Spurs game and the run City have been on, but a win like this today, I hope it's not paper over the cracks. I hope it's momentum building for a big result on Sunday, which I know will be hard. I'm sure it'll be very difficult. I will be doing a live watch along for the Liverpool game. It is relatively a must-win game if we want to stay in the title race. Maybe that's wishful thinking from me, but I think it can be done. Will it be? Who knows? Who knows? Anfield is a very, very difficult place to go get a result, but I would say Liverpool are not quite as good as they've been in the past, for sure, based off this season. So anyway, that is my recap of City Newcastle with us advancing to the Carabao Cup final. If you guys are new, do hit like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Let me know your thoughts with the game today, the game for Anfield coming up. I'll respond to all the comments as always. Subs really do help the channel as well. We are 50-ish subs away from 1,000. So thank you guys so much for all the support. I do appreciate it. And if you want any of my socials, the links are all in the channel description. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.